Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy Coulters back again with another logic video. And today we're going to be talking about the subject of scores and scoreboards and how that works exactly. I guess it'd be really useful for multiplayer games or competitive games or even just old school arcade games where you post the score. But let's get down to business. I've got this little coin, which essentially is a group, and if you scope inside it, there's a sculpt, which is invisible and non-collidable, and a coin, which is non-collidable but visible. We also have a little microchip here with a rotator on it, set to 180, full strength rotation and overall dampening. And we have a tiny tag here, labeled coin, set to the center of what else? The coin, which connects to a timeline with a variable and an emitter, which just makes a splash effect for when we pick up the coin, and a destroyer. Now, the way we interact with this, just to cover it real quick, is our character here has a zone set to detect tag and a tag labeled coin. So basically when we come inside the zone, it triggers the process. When it's, when this tag hits the zone, I should say. Now that's not really super important to what we're doing today, and we're not working with variables, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that coin. What we're actually working with is a gadget in gameplay in gear called a score modifier. And we're going to label it gold, just to make sure it's different from the variable we had earlier. And we're going to set to add, and we're going to add 1. So that's pretty much how it's going to work. And then we're going to take a little block. We already have one over here, but I'm going to stamp one out just to show the process that we're working with here. We're going to set it to stamp shape and mirror, clip mirror, stamp out once. It will be invisible and non-collidable, and you might as well go to Tools and reduce the detail, or, just press R2, reduce it. Oh, by the way, if you want to scope in and out of things, it's just L1 and X to do so, in case you want to modify the asset. But anyway, let's go ahead and put a microchip on here. And we're just going to call this score, I guess. And we're going to go ahead and stamp out a score gadget, which we are going to call gold. It's important to have it match the other variable we had earlier. And we won't have any initial score, so there's not really much to be said on this page. There's the score unit, which is number, and then there's time, which basically would add up if you set a timer. If you hold your imp over it, you'll get a little explanation programmed in by MM themselves. And here's the way to set high score or lower score. I'll set it to high score. You can also set it to separate or combined. I might have separate for multiple boards, multiplayer boards. This is if you have it set to multiplayer, which you can do when each player will have a copy of this score. I think I'll go ahead and do that, since that's probably where this is going to come up. Next, what else do we have to... Oh yes, if we want to see our score, it's as simple as just stamping out a number displayer and taking the current value and inputting it in there. May not look very pretty, but that is our score right there. Technically, it's displayed up there, although that's the variable. Actually, we could just go ahead and find where that's listed. I think this is it. I'm just going to go ahead and take this. This is the HUD element that I used for the coin. I'm going to move it over here by just grabbing tap them with X and use R2 to move them. But it's still a number displayer, it just looks a little more fancy. And that'll be our score up there. Okay, next, I guess, pick up a coin and see if it works. It did. Now you'll notice no sound effect came out. That's because we moved the variable. So I'm going to go ahead and take the sound effect from our earlier variable, which, if you were making this, you probably wouldn't have any of this already stamped out in the scene, but you can make this all from scratch. It's not that hard. And then just take the score increased output and put it on this sound effect, put it in the power node area, and make sure the sound effect is set to play once. And it'll just automatically, make the noise when you pick something up. Now I'm going to put 3 coins in this level so that we can get a decent score, maybe 4. And then we're going to leave the level. Although I want to talk about how we do that first. Over here, behind this thing, it might be a little difficult to see, so we'll turn on studio lighting. I've got this little doorway that's invisible, and I've got a zone set to detect a label. In this case, the label is friend, and I have my character here, if we scope in, labeled to friend. So it'll interact with him just fine. And there's also a little message that says, do you want to leave? But we don't really need that, so I think I might just go ahead and get rid of it. I will make a timeline, though, and that's because of a very distinct and important reason, which I will mention. Set it to play once, so that we only have to run into this once for it to be active. And we're going to put this on the timeline. You may wonder, why are you bothering to do this instead of just have the wire directly connected to the doorway? A doorway which is labeled exit, by the way, so that we exit the level. Well, it's quite simple. You see, even though you have a score set up, if you want to use Dreams' leaderboard system, you have to trigger this post score. And presumably you'd probably trigger that when you leave the level, or maybe when you game over. Either way, though, a game over fundamentally would work the same, which is have a switch on a timeline, or any other way you want to do it. Just make sure you do it before you leave the level. And have that switch go in here to the post score input, so that it will post our current score when we exit. So in this case, it would be 4. Now, before we do any of this stuff, I should mention that we're going to have to publish this level. And I'm going to publish it privately, but you could publish it publicly as well. The main thing is it has to be saved online. So let's go ahead and publish. This may take a while. My internet is not particularly fast. Wonderful weather we're having. By the way, if you want to play this scene, it's taken from one of my games, Mecco in the Village of the Fish Folk. You can find it on Dreams if you're interested in playing it. Might give you some inspiration. Hopefully your internet is much faster when you decide to publish your creations. Anyway, now that that laborious process is done, we're going to exit our creation and press circle and scope out, and we're going to go to start creating and make a new dream. Then we're going to stamp this little fellow out here, and we're going to take this. Oh yeah, let's make a doorway first. Go to tools, press X, stamp out that, and we're going to make back, which is exiting level. I labeled it that way so I'd remember it, and connect it to here. Then we're going to press save, and we're not going to call this anything in particular, it's just a test. Now I may save it publicly but unlisted, which you actually can do. They do want you to add a category first, so I'll call it a game, action, adventure. That's my go-to when I don't know what to call something. And they want this to be published as public but unlisted, which I can do. And we'll just go to here and press unlisted so that nobody will find this and be like, what's this useless game? It's only one level. You could publish it privately though, and this would work just as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and play and pick up these coins. So that's a score of 5, and as we leave the level, it'll post the score. And now that we've left, you'll see this little scoreboard displayed right here. And in here you can see my exact score, which is 5. Not bad. They even have rankings. And they have local rankings and top 100, in case you're interested. And they also have 2-player rankings and such. Like I said, that's what the separate part is about. And you can edit the scoreboard. You can reset it, delete it, combine it, lower the time and stuff. You know, everything you could ever want. Score unit number, better score is higher, multiplayer boards are separate. If you're interested, it would be kind of fun to put together some kind of multiplayer competitive experience, possibly. You know, like, person who gets the highest score, you know, wins. I wanted to make a puzzle game, maybe, and, you know, see how many people could get to the top score. That'd be kind of fun. But either way, hopefully you found this helpful if you're trying to create your own score-based experience. I did my best to explain it in a way that, you know, would elaborate. I don't know if MM actually tells about that whole how to post the score. They tell how to set it up, but I don't know if they tell how to post it. I could be wrong, though. They do have little tutorials, which I should mention. Just in case you're interested. Any object that exists in the game, if you just hover your imp over it for long enough, well, maybe you have to go to tools or gadgets, I should say. Go here and then hover your imp over the score, and after a while this little thing will pop up and it gives you a little brief summary of how things work, and you can go through it, you know, and read along, or you can go and find a video, and there's usually like a video you can watch, but I guess you have to complete prior tutorials in order to reach this, which is a little bit of a drag, you know, if you want to find this out early and don't want to see the other stuff. But just in case, I thought I'd mention it. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, leave a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. That's all for now. Goodbye.